All right, the first thing you want to do, which you already have done, is create your door blueprint. Hit blueprint, actor. I named it BP door. Then once you go inside the BP door, the first thing is to create two variables. One called total doors as an integer, and door was opened as a Boolean. Then you want to create two functions. One called check open door count, and the second one count doors. Then you want to go in the count doors, select the function, and toggle call in editor true. Then you want to get all actors of class. Get your BP door and set it in there. And then drag off of there and do a for each loop. And then drag off there again and do a length. Then you might want to compile to update the variables that we added. Then off of here, you want to set the total doors. And drag the length into the set. So this will basically count how many doors are in the level. So go into the construction script and drag out that function, connect it to the construction script. And then what this will do for you is every time you add a new door, it will run that construction script on this door, calling this function, and it'll update all the doors. Now, the problem with doing it on a construction script is if you delete one of the doors, and check this variable, it still says 4. So it didn't update the delete. So the one way to have it update is move one of the doors, and it will run the construction script on that door again. And now it's 3 doors. So if you add a fourth door again, once again, it's changed to 4. And as you can see, if you go to any of the doors, the variable for that door is 4. So it updates all the doors by running the get all actors. So once again, if you delete a door, it's not updating. And that's one of the reasons we made this call in editor. Because what you can do then is anytime you delete one of the doors, you can select one of the other doors, and the call in editor will put a button in your section over here, and you can just click that and it will call the function. So now if you go back and look, you got 3 doors again. So next, you want to edit the check open door. And what you can do is actually here, you can copy this. You can do Control C or just hit copy. And then just paste that in there, Control V. So that way you don't have to drag those out, and it will have that class set already. So once that's there, you can drag off of here and get your door was opened. Pull a branch off of there. then you're going to want to create a local variable here. And I named it, it's an integer, and you want to name it open doors. I always put a prefix of local, LOC, on my local variables. So then you drag that out, get it, and then you want to increment it and plug it into true. So what this will do is it will get all the actors that are at the door, run through each one of them and check if the door was open. If the door was open, it will increment this local variable. And the reason I use the local variable is because every time this function is called, it will start with the default value of 0, or whatever you set the default to. So the next part would be you select the function and you want to add a Boolean output. I named it are all doors open. And then you're going to take the return node that it creates and connect the complete to it. Then you want to bring out your local open doors and your total doors. See if they equal each other. And then plug that into the output. And then what that will do is, after it goes through all the doors and sees if they were open, it will run the complete and then check if the doors that were open match the total doors. If all of the doors are open, it will output true. So the next thing is, there's two ways to call this door. You can use an event or an interface, which I'll go through both of those. So we'll start with the open door as an event. So add a custom event. I named it open door. And then in your screenshot here, you've got the update playing the sound. And what that will do is this timeline runs on every frame for the duration of the track. So it could call this hundreds of times, within that period. And you don't want to have it do that. And secondly, the location where the sound's going to play is at 000, which if the door's nowhere near here, you won't hear that sound. So what you want to do is play that first, and then you want to add get actor location, which is right there. And what that will do is it will play the sound by whatever door is being opened. And then also, I see you got it plugged in the play from start. And what that will do it'll open the door, but if you hit it again, it'll snap the door back to its open or closed position and then open. So what you want to do is put this on play, which won't open the door again, but it's still playing the sound. So what you can do is add a do once, and what this will do is enter, and it will only play once unless resets hit. So you can have something come in here and reset this so that it can run again, but in this case we're just going to do it as playing once without a reset. So now to open the door. And now, as you can see, the sound is not playing. So first it plays the sound, and then you go into your timeline, where in this case I made it 2 seconds long, and I added a key at 0 with a value of 0, and the second key at 2 seconds with a value of 90, which was opening the door pretty much all the way. So then after that, I bring in the door mesh, which is right here, and set the relative rotation. And for anyone that sees, you know, they don't see what you're seeing here, you can right click and split the struct, and it will show all the X, Y, and Z. So then you want to bring out your door was open variable, and then add you want to set this to true. Then add a branch to here. And then first you want to create a second event, and this will be the event that's called when all the doors are open. And I named it doors complete and connected it to a print string, which will print all doors have been opened to the screen for 10 seconds. And then off of true, you might need to compile it too after you make a new event. Sometimes it works, I think, without, just to be safe. So then doors complete. We got that. So what'll happen is when you open the door, it'll play the sound, it'll run the timeline, opening the door. Once the door is open, it will run finish. It'll set the door was open to true, and then it will run this check to see if all the doors are open. If they all are open, it will run that event. So there's actually other options for the door too. Let's say you want the door to open and close. Well, you can use a flip-flop, just like that, and attach A to play, B to reverse. What that'll do is allow you to open the door and close the door, and you can hit it wherever, and it will reverse it from the local or the rotation it's already at. So to check all of this, open that door, open that door. Once that one fully opens, we get the print to screen, all doors have been opened. So another option, because if you have it set for the door to open and close, do you want this to be called if the door was opened and then closed, or you only want this to be called if all the doors are open? So what you can do is off of the hinge, you can get an equals and set it to 90, which is the hinge when the door is fully open. So if the door gets closed again, this will equal 0, and if it's open, it will equal 90. And what that will do is if you open the first door, second door, then close the second door again, open the third, it's open, you don't get a message up here because one of the doors has been closed again. But if you now open the middle door again, once it's open, you get your message. All doors have been opened. All right, so that's the functionality of the door itself. I believe the second half of your question is, well, how do you interact with the door from your character? Well, you do that with the line trace. So the first thing you need to do is put an input from the keyboard or whatever you want the input to come from. And I'll add it to J for this test. Keyboard event. It's that. And then you want to plug it into a line trace by channel. It's that right there. And then this character is I have it set up to be a first person or a third person, but for this function to work, it's set up, it's basically for first person. Third person would be a different process. I think you would use like the forward vector of the controller, and I don't know, there's sometimes it might not work because you have to have the character actually facing perfectly to the door for it to hit it. But I know there's other options, but for this tutorial, we'll just treat it as a first person. So basically in your character, the first person, you bring out your first person camera. You want to get the world location. That, which is right here. Then you want to get control rotation. Get the forward vector. And then you want to do a multiply. Now, with Unreal Engine 4, I believe, what you'd want to do is you drag off of here and you type, or you get your multiply, and see right here there's only one option. I believe in Unreal Engine 4 there'd be an option for multiply by float. So with Unreal Engine 5, it uses wildcards for the multiply. So you'd plug the vector into the front one, or this is what you'd get, and then you can right click the second input and convert the pin to a float. And then you want to change that float to like 400. And what this ends up being is it's the reach, it's how long the line trace will extend from your camera. So what you'll do then is you'll get this, and then add. So you're going to add that to that, and then plug in the world location of the camera as the start, and the reach, or like the how far you want the line trace to travel to the end. In the line trace, there's an option for debugging for duration. And what that does is it shows you the line trace as a red line in the editor. When you press J, you'll see the red line. So the next option would be breaking the output, the hit results. And then when you want to grab the hit actor and cast to the BP door, like so. And then off of the cast, you want to call the event open door. There. And what will happen then is you'll press J, you'll shoot a line trace from your camera. The hit actor will call this, and if the actor that's hit is the BP door, it will call the open door function. If it's not the door, if it's something else, it'll just fail and do nothing. So like when I hit J, every time I hit J, it shoots a line trace from the camera, and it hit nothing because it stayed red. So if you hit the door, it hit right there, and then it turns green after the hit. So there's a second way, depending on what you're doing. If you're only going to be interacting with doors and there's nothing else that you're interacting with, like let's say you have a door or maybe a light switch or open a window or something of that nature, and you're going to want to press J to interact with all those other blueprints, multiple blueprints, you'd want to use an interface. So to do that, you right click, go to blueprint, and choose blueprint interface. And that will, I named interact interface. So if you go in there, when you first create it, it has you name the first function, and I'll name it interact. And there's no need for any inputs or outputs or anything. You can just leave it just like so, and then compile it. So then you're going to go into the door and hit class settings. And if you hit add, you can add your interact interface, which I already have in here. So it'll appear in the list if it wasn't added already. Once this is added, you can compile it and then right click and type interact. And you want to select the event interact. There's other options for interfaces, like you can run them as a function and do other things, but in this case we're going to run it as an event, like so, and you'll see this in the corner, like so. And then what you can do is, instead of using a cast to that one blueprint, you can have this basically call the interact on any blueprint that is associated with the interact. I add a branch for the hit location so that if you hit something with the line trace and nothing's blocked, it just will do nothing. If you hit like something that doesn't have this interact interface added, like so, it'll do nothing as well. So what you can do there, it's pretty much the same functionality as using a cast, but a cast is specific for that particular blueprint actor. So there you go. And just to show a quick example of how this works with more than one thing, I created another blueprint actor, and I just named it BP box. And inside here, I just added a cube and made sure that the collision was at least to block all dynamic or block all or something so that the ray or the line trace hits it. Then I took the cube, dropped it out, and then set a toggle visibility and attached it to this interface. Which, oh, I'm sorry. First, you have to go to class settings in this box as well, and you're going to want to add the interface, the interact interface. Compile it, and then you should be able to add this interact event. Like so. So now you've got a door, and it runs this functionality, and you got a box that runs this functionality. So I already placed the box out there. So you got the door and the box. And now by pressing J, I can open that door, which is a blueprint actor, or I can toggle this, this box's visibility with using the same interface. All right, I think that covers your questions. Hope it helped.